All right, people of the state of Michigan versus Catherine Puma, 226943 SM. Ms. Puma appears this morning along with her attorney, Dennis Tuzanar. The prosecution appears through Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Alex Saminsky. We're set today for a sentencing hearing. Mr. Tuzanar, have you had a chance to go over the pre-sentence report with Ms. Puma?
I have, Your Honor.
Is there anything of a factual nature that appears inaccurate?
No, Your Honor.
Anything you'd like to say on behalf of Ms. Puma before the court imposes sentence?
Briefly, Your Honor. Miss Puma was 19 years old today. She was 18 when this happened, a senior in high school. Miss Puma has no criminal history, has never had any type of illegal run-ins with anything, no prior involvement with police. She has shown remorse for this event from day one when I met her about this and talked to her, that this has been an issue for her that she wanted corrected and wanted to work on. I believe she will successfully complete probation. As I stand here this morning, I can't help but consider the situation not only from the aspect of her attorney, but also as a parent of a 10-year-old son, and as from the perspective of the West Iron County School Board member. As a parent, our work is cut out for us, attempting to raise children, and in the school board context, it's the same thing. I have these issues come in front of me all the time. Educating kids in critical thinking. I see in the pre-sentence report the term of no possession or use of social media. And to be honest, when the officer had his second interview with her in my office, he spoke about that, and all three of us talked about that a little bit. I think that is a very important aspect of this pre-sentence report, or as a term of probation. And I don't raise it as an excuse or to put blame anywhere else, but just the context that the judge and myself, when we were younger, we didn't have that. They didn't exist. We didn't have that concept. And today, social media and the apps that the kids are using brings in a whole different aspect of trying to parent kids, how to teach them to think. Because the reality is that kids are letting that handheld unit think for them. It's making decisions. It's telling them, when I was a high schooler, if I was going to make friends with somebody from out of town, it would have happened through some vetting process of family and friends and family I already had. My best friend's cousin down on Iron Mountain or something. And today, the app designed to make money is telling people who they should be friends with. And the schools are missing the boat, maybe, and parents are missing the boat. Kids are for sure missing the boat on rationalizing that, using that information, not making their own critical thinking about that. And I just raised that, the court's probably aware of that, but parents out there aren't aware of it. Other defendants come in here, and your probation terms are supposed to be helping teach them lessons. I think that she has learned huge lessons already, and I think she'll continue to learn lessons as part of her probation. But those concepts, when I have read through all the police reports in this matter and gone through how this thing went down, social media played a role in it, and it's something that kids aren't learning today how to deal with it. I believe that Ms. Puma is a good person. She's already learned lessons. I think that she will not be someone that's back in front of this court or another court. And I think she's ready to work at putting this behind her. I don't believe that she is requesting some period of time to pay off her fines. She's been maybe unbeknownst to the court, during the bond period, she had been pregnant and was in the hospital for several days, a week and a half back. During that hospital stay, she miscarried, and she's been struggling with those issues for several months. But she is not prepared to pay her fines in full today, but I suspect we'll be able to get them paid over a short period of time if the court gives her that to do that. That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Saminsky, do you wish to say anything? Or Ms. Larson, I see you're here with Ms. Danielson.
I would perhaps defer to Ms. Danielson and then comment afterwards if that's acceptable to the court.
Yes. We will, yes, please. And then Ms. Puma, you have the right to go last. So that you can address everything that's said. That's how it works. It's not. Please state your name.
Sandra Danielson. I apologize, my throat is. Miss Puma, on April 1st, 2022, you drove yourself and two of your friends from Iron River to Norway and looked beneath the south. While you were there, you were waiting for a phone call or a reply from my son. He wanted to pick him up and take him for a ride and some pizza. He finally responded. We're there for 11 minutes and then went to pick him up at our home. You took him to a secluded area on the end of a dead-end road where your male friends came from hiding wearing ski masks and gloves and kicked and stomped and punched him. One of the things that really bothered Trenton is that when you picked him up, he looked in the car and he said, "You're not going to kill me, are you?" I believe he said that because I told him not to trust people on the internet. When he left that night, I thought he was actually going with someone that was a friend of his. I didn't realize he had been in communication with you. I knew he had been in communication with a friend. And for some reason, that has really bothered him, that when he asked that, you all three laughed at him. And the way Trenton is, he laughed in response because he wants to fit in. So he thought you took it as a joke. While he was on the internet talking to you about meeting up, he asked if you could meet in a public place. He really encouraged everybody to come just stay at my house and visit because he didn't know you. You convinced him and he went. I believe he probably felt extremely foolish for trusting you. You helped conspire this assault with your friends. You lured him out and drove him to this place where he was assaulted. Because of your actions, my son has suffered greatly in many ways. The trauma done to him, both physically and emotionally, will be with him forever. You and your friends face a bump in the road of your life, while he faces a life of more insecurity and fear. He will also never forget how you told him after the assault you would give him a ride, but he needed to clean the blood off his face first. I'm glad he didn't go for a ride with you again, because when you took off, you went down to the end of the road and parked your car next to the vehicle that the men were in. I don't know what would have happened if you'd have brought him the second time. He told me you brought him where he ended up and what happened to him. He didn't want to go for a ride with you anymore. My son mentally is younger than you and any of the defendants that did this to him. You've affected that too. He now has declined in his cognitive abilities. He was starting to improve on them. His memory is decreased. He has to go to speech therapy. He's been to physical therapy, neurology. He has been to see a neurologist. He has been to see a neuropsychologist. He had to go to the dentist to have his broken teeth fixed. He had to go to a plastic surgeon for the septum that was broken that can take up to 2 years to heal. He still may have to face surgery for that. The teeth, they're not going to last him the rest of his life being broken. He'll have to have them replaced at some time, I'm sure. Your actions have taken so much from my son. He still suffers with the headaches from the concussion. He's supposed to start speech therapy today, but they called yesterday and had to cancel because now we're having issues with his insurance. I'm sure it'll be cleared up and he'll go to speech therapy either way. He has to go to speech therapy to help find his words. Bothers me bad. Since last April, after this assault, we've been to Green Bay multiple times for his appointments. It's been over 9 months of this for us. Meanwhile, you and all your friends and co-defendants have been out running around. You have restrictions, but some have disregarded those restrictions. There has been so many court dates, changes, and so much scheduling I've had to do for his appointments and changing those appointments and rescheduling those appointments because of the court dates. The appointments that we wouldn't have to even go to if it weren't for you and your actions. You got to remember, there's 7 of you. 10 of you were there. 7 of you were charged. There's 1 of me. 1 of me to appear in court. 1 of me to write letters. 1 of me to take my son to all of these appointments and deal with everything you did to him. You all could have come forward right away and accepted responsibility and taken the consequences. We'd have been done with this court stuff right now had you done that. And your charges, you're not going to get any more time than you did. 9 days isn't much at all for what you did to a lifetime of my son. Coming forward right away would have made a difference to me. It would have made a difference to my son. Having to go through you telling your friends to post on Facebook all these lies about my son. His teeth were damaged and his face was damaged prior to this because of his drug use. He doesn't use drugs. He was born addicted to drugs. His biological mother died. We've created so much chaos in our lives. You don't even know how much. If you would have been charged with all the felonies you committed that night, you would have all taken this more seriously. I don't feel you have. I don't think you understand the depth of what you did to my son. The trust, he'll never have that again. He didn't trust to begin with. That's why he tried to encourage you to stay at my house and not to be running around with him. Then you all wanted to go to the bar and said you had fake IDs. I really didn't see any charge for that either. I know if I did what you did, I couldn't have made it to this courthouse quick enough to turn myself in and accept those weak charges, because conspiracy, great bodily harm, and all the other things that you did that night, all the felonies you committed, if you'd have been charged with those, you'd have been facing a whole lot more. In some states, luring someone out like you did under false pretenses to a place where he was trapped and assaulted with no way to escape is considered kidnapping. Did you know that? I just hope this court can make you understand how much damage you've done, how easily you are getting off on these charges, and that you learn never to do anything like this to anyone again. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Semansky?
Thank you, Your Honor. Obviously, the court is in a unique position with this matter. It has had several sentencings already. It is keenly aware of many of the facts in the case because of those previous sentencings and because of the Cobb's hearings that have been held. And obviously, Ms. Danielson is a relentless advocate for her son. So the court is aware of everything that he has had to deal with as well. The court is obviously also aware of all the theories of penalty, punishment, deterrence, specific deterrence. I think the court is more than capable of crafting an appropriate sentence in this matter. Obviously, nothing this court can do and nothing my office can do can truly repair Mr. McWilliams. And I think Ms. Danielson has made that abundantly clear. All the issues he was already facing prior to this and everything he's going to face because of this. I would simply ask the court to craft a sentence that appropriately punishes Ms. Puma and provides a level of deterrence for anyone that thinks this behavior is even remotely appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Puma, this is your opportunity to say anything that you wish to say if you do.
I just wanted to say how truly sorry I am. There's no excuse for what I did or for the part I played. I come from a Catholic family and went to a Catholic school, so I'd never expect me to do something to someone like that. And I can understand the family wants me in jail, but after serving the 9 days that I did, I never want to go back. I thought about that night over and over again. And throughout this past year, well, it's been pending. I realized there's no absolutely reason for what I did. And I can also never change what happened. But I can give my sincere apology and pray one day Trenton and his family will forgive me. And he will be able to have closure on this incident and not suffer physically or emotionally in the future. And if I could take it all back, I'm very sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Puma. Anything else you wanted to say? All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's comments and heartfelt words. And you're right, there is nothing that can turn the hands of time back and change what has happened. Nobody will ever truly forget this or truly be past this. What you have to do at this point is try to make the best out of the worst. And I think that Ms. Puma, you appear to be sincere in your regret for having participated in this heinous event. I guess your attorney, to a certain, degree, has hit the nail on the head that in the future, whether it be social media or in person or whatever the case is, you have to be a stronger individual advocate and stand up for what you know is right from wrong and not let yourself get swept away with the crowd. I don't know if any of these events would have taken place had it been just for one and not a group of 7 or more. But clearly group hysteria played into this. And when you go forth after today's date, you have engaged yourself in some very adult behavior, and you're going to have to behave in a very adult manner in the future. You have to recognize that certain people in the world have more innate difficulties. They're born with problems they never deserve to have. Their parents saddled them with certain things, and by virtue of that, they are more delicate. You have to recognize that and pay more attention. And not only do you have to treat these people with more caution, you have to encourage other people to do that and stand up for them, be an advocate. And that's going to be your job when you leave this courtroom. It's not only to be a better person, but to have the courage and the sense of moral compass that requires that you speak up. It's easier to sit back and do nothing, but you have to be more of a involved person in your community. And that is how you're going to pay your penance, is to make sure that you are not only taking care of business here and making sure that he's financially made whole to the best of your ability, but you also have to make sure that you are acting in the best interests of the community at all times in the future. So I think the recommendations are appropriate. I don't know that there's any punishment that would be satisfactory for Mrs. Danielson. She's a mother. She's going through, we've heard this morning, how much it has impacted her, all of this on her son. It's made her life really difficult and busy and hard. And so those are the types of things you have to digest, live with, and figure out how you're going to make up for, Miss Puma. Right now, I'm going to impose a sentence that just deals with the here and the now. And we will see how you do over the course of the next year. I am going to find you guilty of the charges. We'll impose sentence under the general delayed sentence 771.1 under a 12-month period of probation with no early discharge. So the ball is in your court, essentially, on this aggravated assault. If you can comply with the terms of your probation over the course of the next year, you have the right to earn that this not appear on your public permanent record. Fines and costs on the underlying charge are $640. I'm assessing restitution of $3,113. That'll be payable jointly and severally with your co-defendants. Crime fund fee is $75. The justice system assessment fee is $50. That's $1,165 plus the restitution. What is the plan for payment?
As soon as I just had a C-section, so as soon as I get better, I'm getting a job at Dollar General.
And did you work before that?
I did, worked at Dairy Queen and
All right. So if I give you, how long do you think it'll be before you start working?
hopefully middle of February.
All right, I'm gonna make your first payment due 60 days from now, or March 15th. I'll set that at $200 a month. And each 15th of the month thereafter. Yeah, I said 400. At least I think I did. And I said no early discharge from probation.
Yes.
40 days in jail, 10 days now, credit for 10 days served. 20 days held in abeyance pending your successful completion of probation, 10 days suspended for your completion of both 10 days of community service work and 10 days on the sheriff's work van. In addition to the general terms of your probation, the following are specific. You must absolutely abstain from the possession or consumption of alcoholic liquor in any form whatsoever. You may not use, possess, or consume any non-prescribed controlled substances or prescription medicines that aren't prescribed to you. You must avoid all users, sellers, and possessors of those items. Recreational marijuana use and possession are prohibited. You may not engage in any assaultive, harassing, intimidating, or threatening behavior with any person. You may not have any contact with Trenton McWilliams. You are not to possess or use any social media, including but not limited to Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, etc. You are not to be on the property of W5678 Swede Lane in Norway. Do you understand your conditions of probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, did you understand the appellate court advisal I gave earlier?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr.
No, sir.
Tuzina, Mr. Szymanski?
Nothing further.
All right, good luck to you, thank you.